Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order for March 14, 2019. Committee as a whole for Business Affairs Administrative. Roll call, please. Ms. Campbell.
Mr. Green. Mrs. Heinz. Mr. Derman.
Here.
Mr. Loop. Mr. Harrell. Mr. Nation. Mrs. Richardson. I'm sorry. Mr. Winkler. Mrs. Drucker.
Here.
Mr. Betancourt. Mrs. Leamy. Mr. Hersey. He's Mr. Barrow. Mr. Kuzan. Mrs. Page.
Thank you very much. As we already had the invocation and the pledge, we're going to move beyond that. So I'm going to ask if any board member has any visitors that they'd like to recognize at this meeting. Seeing none, we're going to move right into public comments, which we do have someone that has signed up. It's Miss Cindy Rester, and you will have 3 minutes.
I didn't sign up for public comments. I signed up for item number 4.
Okay. Well, you'll be
That's
able to.
Christensen.
Okay, this is what we have as our public speaking comment. That's a section in our agenda, but you'll be allowed to speak on item 4 when it's up for discussion. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move to item 3, which is approval of the minutes for the committee as a whole meeting held on February 7, 2019. So moved by Mr. Betancourt, seconded by Mr. Loop. Any comments or questions from school board members regarding the minutes? Seeing none. Any from the public? Seeing none. Okay, so we shall vote on those minutes. Okay. We have all 14 yeas, no nays, 1 absent. So, okay. So now we're going to move to item 4, which is item A, which is policy revisions, which I'm going to call on Ms. Shelter Richardson to discuss those items that she would like to present on the agenda. Ms. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Dermott. Recent events in our district have caused me to take a look at 2 of our policies. And I just want to put on the forefront, this board has been working, I believe, over a year now on policy revision. And the thing about policies is it's a living, breathing document. And when incidences arise, it gives us opportunity to visit our policies. And this is where I'm going tonight. The first policy I would like to discuss is the one, I don't really like the topic because that's not what I'm asking for, but it's the only policy available to me. It's called the removal of a school board member from office. It's policy ABCF. Let me start by stating very clearly that I'm not trying to dig up old news, serve as a judge, or remove a school board member at this point. While our board did pass a resolution regarding the incident in District 9, I do not feel the current policy is sufficient given the fact that it lacks the protocol for when and if a school board member is arrested or there is an admission of guilt. In fact, due to the lack of policy, this board was rendered powerless to render any form of discipline beyond a resolution. Furthermore, should this happen again, we will be in the same embarrassing situation. The job of this board is to write policy that sets this school board up for success and protects it from harm. On a personal note or professional note, I serve as an administrator of a much smaller organization. I would never want to be blindsided by situations of legalities, nor would I want my board to be blindsided. Therefore, I'm asking that we consider a revision or the adoption of a policy that would basically accomplish 2 things. First of all, should a board member be arrested, I want to make the recommendation that they must notify the board chair. From there, when a school board has been arrested or they're under indictment, or there's an admission of guilt, they are suspended from public appearances, conventions, expulsion hearings, etc., until they are cleared of their charges. So this is the first policy that I want to consider editing. Secondly, the second policy is pertaining to the public's desire to be added to the agenda or the public's desire to speak to the board. We have two different policies that pretty much tell us how to handle this, and I am going to spend some time on that. The first one says that it is the policy of St. Tammany Parish School Board to conduct all meetings in full view of and welcome participation by the public. That's a good thing. We want the public's participation. And then the policy just prior, which is BCBD, it goes on to say that any group or individuals other than a school board member, administrator, or employee who desires to place an item on the agenda shall submit a request in writing to the superintendent no later than noon on Friday preceding the next scheduled school board meeting. Any material to be used must be submitted at the time of the request. Why is this important to me? Based upon these policies, this incident, again, like I said, an incident that came up that caused me to have concern. I have a constituent who is here tonight who did follow the protocol by our very policies that we have set forth. She had requested to be added to the agenda as a discussion item, nothing to be voted upon. Now, this is an uncommon request. And by default, our district, we've made a habit of putting all of our public comments to the 3 and 5 minutes, but this individual wanted to discuss the very policies I've just brought up and have some dialogue with our board. You see, we have many stakeholders, and these stakeholders, they have elected us into office. It is our job to listen to them and to give them an opportunity to help us to become better. And I believe that my constituent truly wanted to accomplish this. But because this is an uncommon request, there was a lot of confusion in the communication whether a constituent has the right to be added to the agenda as a discussion item. Clearly, we do have policy that does say that, but it is confusing. So, given the above of what I've discussed, I would like to consider revising this policy for how the public may request an addition to the agenda for discussion. And my hope is that we would eliminate the confusion between the two policies for agenda adoption. I've gone through extensive effort, by the way, to gain objective feedback on what is the proper protocol. I've talked to Mr. Geis, which is one of the lawyers over our Louisiana School Board Association, and he said, by all means, our first and foremost obligation is to follow our policy. We do have policy, but it's a little confusing, especially in the situation I've described to you. Secondly, at the convention, the training we attended yesterday, we had the opportunity to discuss this very matter in detail. And the law literally states that any person, whether a school board member, school system employee, or member of the public can place an item on the school board agenda, should be established in the school board policy. So again, we've got a default to policy. Here's where I'm going. We have been voted into office, as I said, by our constituents. It's my job to represent this individual as well as all others to the betterment of our district. And so I've also taken the time and had the opportunity to meet with Board Chair Ms. Heinz and Mr. False. I had a great meeting this afternoon, and it was at that time we discussed that a work group would be vital, that in fact it would be recommended to do that. And so at this point, I'd like to put a motion on the table to form a work group to spend some time on these two policies.
Okay, thank you. And so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I have to,
Ms. Hines seconded.
I have to add it to the agenda because we can't vote at this point.
You can read it out, and we can read it out and take a vote. You have discussion now, so you should.
We can go ahead and.
Open it for discussion.
So we have a first and a second, so we can actually have discussion from board members currently while she types up the motion. And so I'm going to ask that y'all request your, on the machine to speak. So I'm going to go to Mr. Bro.
Mr. Chairman, I would specifically like to request our counsel, Mr. Pittman here, to address the fact that this is a very generic topic, policy revisions. which does not allow us to discuss, according to the open meetings law. I'll get it out. It doesn't allow us to discuss in detail specific policies that we wish to change. This is, we can talk about changing policies, but we can't really talk about specific changes. So I'd like to keep the topics on, well, first of all, I'd like to
All
get
right.
advice from
I'm
council.
gonna, Mr. Pittman, I'm gonna,
I would just say the only motion on the floor is just whether a working group
Correct.
would be appointed. So it's not specific revisions to the policy, so it's not really.
So as long as we just talk about having a committee formed and not getting into the details of which policy we want to change, because we have not given the public an opportunity to respond to this.
Motion on the floor for discussion.
but the public is still gonna get a chance to talk once, before we go to a vote, even on whatever we're
The,
doing
the
here.
discussion should be on
It's
the
based upon the formation of the work group.
formation of the working group, and not on
And
specifics
it's
about
not-
how
It's
we
not
should
on different
change.
points of the policy. It's strictly gonna be as us forming the work group.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does any other board members have any questions or comments regarding the motion that's gonna be on the floor? Seeing none. Okay, members of the public, do you, Ms. Ruster, please come to the podium and state your name and address, and then your question germane to the motion that's on the floor.
My name is Cindy Brester, my address.
Hold on, Miss Cindy, hold on one second. Okay.
My name is Cindy Brester, my address is 64328
Fish Hatchery Road, Lacombe. Board members, I appreciate you bringing up this topic tonight. I thank Ms. Shelter Richardson, Mr. Foles, for working closely with me on this situation. A few minutes ago, I just emailed each and every one of you, rather than providing handouts, some research that I did for you in comparison with other parishes in the state of Louisiana's school board policy on the exact issues that were just mentioned. I provided you that sampling. I provided you a highlighted copy of St. Tammany Parish School Board's policy. I also provided you a copy of a lawsuit called Jackson versus Assumption Parish School Board that pertains to the same situation. And I've also provided you a copy of a chain of emails that have gone back and forth to demonstrate what a difficult process this was made in order for something to be put on the agenda. This was all prompted by my attempt to have discussion and dialogue with St. Tammany Parish School Board members about the lack of a policy regarding board members. Removal from office only refers to felony convictions, yet all school
Ms.
system
Ruster.
employees.
Ms. Ruster, we're not gonna discuss the policy changes at this time. We're discussing the formation of the work group. So
If I
are you in
understand
favor or
correctly,
against the formation of
I am
that?
in favor of the formation.
Okay,
But the topic is actually policy revisions according to the agenda.
the motion that's on the floor is the formation of the work group.
Okay, so
That's
you wanna
what-
vote on
is
that and
what-
let me
That
finish?
is what we're voting on.
So you'd like to vote on that and then let me finish? Because I'm addressing what's on the agenda.
But what is gonna come out of that work group is what you would then want to discuss based on whatever that work group commit,
Is it not on the agenda tonight? The topic, policy revision?
I'm gonna defer to the council.
The matter that's before the motion right now, which deals with the work group, I think what she wants to do is discuss, put something on the agenda for, Ms. Rester wants to do, and discuss the matter just as a general proposition. That's certainly something that you can do in public comment, just like you were allowed to do before. We've got an item on the agenda right now. It was consideration of policies. There's a motion on the floor.
And that's what I'm speaking to.
So, speak to the motion on the floor. I mean, you're welcome to limit it.
Continue.
Sharon Dorker, as well as all board members, owe the citizens of St. Tammany Parish more than is required of employees of the system. All of our board members have a loyalty and a duty to our school system and should be shining examples for the children of St. Tammany. The failure to have policies in place to address this type of situation have placed the board, the administration, teachers, citizens, and students in an unpleasant, embarrassing predicament. I implore each of you to commit to the people you are here to serve to be better than this. Please commit to uphold your duties as a school board member of St. Tammany Parish School System by creating and implementing policy immediately.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Nation? No, we're not doing that. Ms. Richardson, did you have a comment that you wanted to make? Okay. So we have Ms. Barrios? We've already taken.
Lee Barrios, retired teacher. For someone who's been extremely active for the last 9 years in public meetings, both at the local and state level, this is a game changer. This is news to me, and I thought I knew the open meetings law. I even filed a lawsuit against Superintendent's Advisory Committee once for not allowing the public to speak before a vote. But I think this could be a very positive thing. It may sound scary because, oh my God, the public's going to want things on the agenda. But if your policy is written well, this will not only give the public the understanding that they do have a voice, but I would think there would be a lot more interaction prior to the need for somebody to put something on the agenda so that things could be discussed with their board members and maybe settled then, or with administration and maybe settled then. And I have teachers and parents correspond with me constantly about more or less this issue. And I hope that this is another opportunity for St. Tammany to be a leader too, because I guarantee you when this hits the news for the other school boards that this has taken place, it's really going to be a game changer, and I think it's a good thing. And I hope it also applies to Bessie. Thank you.
I'm gonna say good luck with that one. But, Ms. Barrios, we appreciate your comments, but we're one of the few boards that do allow for public comments in the beginning of our agenda, and a lot of them don't allow that. So, I mean, I think we're also very transparent. And I'm not saying we're perfect, I'm not. But in this case, you know, we're trying to resolve some of these issues like we always do. So I'm not saying we're 100% right, but we're not 100% wrong either. So we're going to move forward with our vote, seeing no other comments from the public. So are we ready to vote?
Yes, sir, we are.
No, we're not ready to vote on the motion. That's simply to form the work group, create a work group to regard the policy revisions. Yes, sir, Mr. Bedcourt, I'm sorry.
Mr. Kuzan.
Do we have a policy on how to form a work group?
We do.
Excellent.
Mr. Kuzan, you,
Yes, he needs
We
to
good?
vote. No, he needs to vote.
Mr. Kuzan, I need you to vote, please, sir.
There we go.
Is that? Okay. So we have 14 yeas
Yes, sir.
and 1 absent, so everybody's accounted for. All right, thank you. We're gonna move on now to our administrative reports. Mr. Javia, our monthly maintenance and custodial.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Durman. Our monthly maintenance and custodial report you have. Mr. Williams, his staff is here if you have any questions.
Any questions regarding the maintenance or the custodial reports? Seeing none? Mr.
Mr.
Javia?
Gaspard is here with the risk management report if you have any questions.
Any questions regarding our insurance and risk management? Seeing none from board members, Mr. Javia.
Mr. Alfonso and his staff is here regarding the monthly transportation report. If you have any questions.
Any questions for transportation? Seems like a slow night for all your guys.
Thank you, Mr. Derman.
Hey, don't mention it. All right, thank you, Mr. Jabby. We're going to move on now to construction. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. Our first item is consideration of bids for Bonnie Cole Elementary School, portion of main building re-roofing, St. Tammany Parish School Board project number R0043. We received bids for this project on March the 11th. We received a number of bids. We're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Roof Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $135,552 for this project.
Thank you. Mr. Bro, we got a motion?
I move that we accept the adoption of this bid.
Okay, thank you. A second? Mr. Kuzan? Second by Mr. Kuzan. Any questions from board members regarding anything from the public? Seeing none, everyone please vote. Are we ready to vote? Close. Okay, thank you. 14 yeas, 1 absent. All right, we're going to go to the next item on the agenda, consideration of bids for Boyette Junior High School cafeteria roof replacement, STPSB project number R0044. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you. We received these bids on March 13th, 2019, and again, we received several bids. And we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Fishers Incorporated in the amount of $167,300 for the cafeteria roof replacement at Boyette Junior High School.
Thank you. Ms. Page.
I make a recommendation that we accept the bid for Boyette Junior High cafeteria replacement roof, please.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Okay, any comments or questions from board members? Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing none, all in favor, please vote. Or not in favor, you can vote too. We have 14 yeas, 1 absent, so very good. We're doing good tonight. Item C is consideration of bids for Fontainebleau High School site work renovations, STPSB project number P0214. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you. We received these bids on February the 28th, 2019, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Hunt Ragusa General Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $237,700 for the site work renovations at Fontainebleau High School.
Moved by Mr. Betancourt, seconded by Mr. Nation. Any comments or questions from board members? Any from the public? Seeing none, we're going to vote.
Mr. Kuzan.
Mr. Kuzan.
There we go.
Thank you. 14 yeas, 1 absent. Moving on to item D, consideration of bids for Mandeville Elementary School roof replacement, Phase 2, STPSB project number R0049. Ms. Tipton.
We received these bids on February the 28th also, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Rowell Roofing Incorporated in the amount of $251,200 for the roof replacement Phase 2 at Mandeville Elementary School.
Moved by Mr. Nation, seconded by Mr. Green. Any questions or comments from board members? From the public? Seeing none, all vote, please. Ms. Tipton, if I may, the last couple of names that we had for roofing, I don't recognize them from previous roofing jobs. Have they done
They
other
have-
work for us?
They have.
Okay.
Done work for us previously. Would you like to know specifically?
No, I just didn't recognize the names right on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Drucker.
Ms. Drucker, need to get you to vote, please.
There we go.
Good.
14.
Okay, we got 14 yeses again and 1 absent. Very good. Item E, consideration of bids for Pearl River High School site improvements, STPSB, project number P0215. Ms. Tipton.
We received these bids on March 12th, 2019, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by JAC Construction of South Louisiana LLC in the amount of $332,900 for site improvements at Pearl River High School.
Moved by Mr. Winkler, second by Mr. Harrell. I'm sorry, I was going to call you Charles, but Brandon. Yeah. Mr. Harrell sounds better, but anyhow. All right, so any questions from board members regarding the motion? Yes, sir.
I left after this was developed apparently, so I don't even know what y'all working on.
Yes, sir. We're putting in sidewalks that give access out to some of the remoter areas like the softball field and tennis courts, as well as redoing some sidewalks internal to the commons area for easier and better access around campus.
Great.
So, Mr. Winkler, what you're saying, since you retired, you really retired?
So I live right down the school.
I'm just kidding. Any comments from the public?
Yeah, I'm just happy there's something that's not a roofing repair.
Yeah. Mr. Betancourt, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask Ms. Tipton, while that concrete's wet, could Mr. Winkler go put his initials in it?
Maybe his hands like they do, yeah.
The kids try to do that.
Okay, everybody vote for Mr. Winkler's project here. Fourteen yeas, 1 absent. So we're going to move to item F, consideration of bids for Slidell High School roofing repairs, STPSB project number R0056.
Yes.
Ms. Tipton.
Yes, sir. We received these bids on March 12th, 2019, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Morecore Roofing LLC in the amount of $224,000 for the roofing repairs at Slidell High School.
Okay.
So moved.
Mr. Bro, second by Ms. Leamy. Any questions or comments? Did I miss you? I'm sorry. Okay. All right, I don't want to hurt any feelings. Okay, seeing no comments from the board, real comments, but other than how I'm running the meeting. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, so let's vote, please.
Fourteen.
14 yeas, 1 absent. So we're going to move to item G, consideration of bids, Slidell Junior High School re-roofing, STPSB project number R0057.
And we received these bids on March 13th, 2019, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid plus alternate number 1 submitted by Roof Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $328,365 for the re-roofing at Slidell Junior High School.
Okay.
So moved.
Mr. Bro. Ms. Page, do you want to do this one? Mr. Bro has a lot of schools that need roofs in them, apparently. He's been a hit tonight.
Let me ask you, is there an alternative, may I have the floor?
Yes, sir.
What is alternative number one? Is it another roofing project?
It's an additional portion of roof at Slidell Junior High main, where this is the main school roof, and we're
I'm not surprised.
working
All the
in
roofs are bad.
parts. Yes, sir. So-
Well, I don't know if all the roofs are bad, but I think what you're seeing tonight, and I know you mentioned re-roofing projects, this is the time to do it. Certainly, when the summertime, and that's why the bids are here at this time, and we have a roofing fund that we use to pay for this, and we have a process in place where we do these over the time. So that's the thought process behind these projects and why you're seeing so many roofing projects at this time of the year.
Yes, sir.
Correct. It's a very traditional time of year for re-roofings to be done. Thank you, Mr. Foles. Mr. Bro was the first. Ms. Page was the second.
Let's see, Mr. Rhodes first, and Page second, gotcha.
Got it? And now we're going to vote. Everybody go?
14.
Okay, thank you very much. 14 yeas, 1 absent. Thank you. We're going to go to item H, which is consideration of bids for the Treen Technology Center Meeting Center Kitchen re-roof and parapet, whatever that is. Yeah, it's 2 dogs, is that what it is? Okay. Wall cap, STPSB project number R0058.
So moved. I second.
Okay, well, we're gonna let Ms. Tipton read the bid. I know y'all quick down there.
So we did receive these bids on March 12, 2019, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base bid and alternate number 1 submitted by Edward J. LaPerouse Metalworks Incorporated in the amount of $162,990 for the Meeting Center Kitchen re-roof and parapet wall cap at Treen's Technology Center.
Mr. Loop, I'm gonna let Mr. Green make the motion on that location. I'll be glad to take your second. Moved by Mr. Green, seconded by Mr. Loop. We're gonna take care of it, Mr. Loop. What, I have to ask is, what is a parapet? Well,
It's a wall that extends above the roof, and the roof ties into the wall.
and it's leaking.
It needs waterproofing. It's not leaking, but we see
Mr.
that
Loop
it-
just said it was leaking because it leaked on his plate while he was eating breakfast.
We had some issues, one end with it was some termites getting in from moisture, so we've been
I'm
trying
just
to address
kidding.
it.
Thank you very much. Okay, any comments from board members other than those? Seeing none from the public, seeing none, all vote, please. Did I vote?
Yeah.
I must have voted early. It hadn't even popped up.
Yeah,
Is that,
14.
yeah, must have been a leftover. Good. 14 yeas, 1 absent. Construction report, Ms. Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Durman. At Slidell High, the girls' side locker room renovation is nearing completion. They're scheduling final inspections. The new kitchen area for Slidell High is progressing. They're building the concrete block and metal stud walls. They have the kitchen hood and the utility distribution rack installed now, so that's progressing well. The Mandeville High temporary modular wing, the walkways and the electrical are progressing very well and on schedule. We have signed the contracts for the Madisonville Elementary Additions Project and the Mandeville High Additions Project. We had the pre-construction meeting today for the Madisonville Elementary Additions Project, and we will be meeting to start the project for Mandeville High next week. Both of those projects will proceed with obtaining their building permits and preparing to start on site. And obviously, we are receiving quotes and bids for summer projects for roofing and site improvements at several schools.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tipton, for your report, and I'm sure you're getting ready to go on vacation. All summer long, huh? No vacation? Mr. Winkler, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to just, I had the fortune of working with Ms. Tipton for about a year, I guess it was, that we did that project. We renovated 2 buildings, put in a new section, and they moved us all in. We had about 30 portables that they moved us all into it during that time. And she just did a fantastic job. She met with me every week, walked the grounds, just top notch. She's dealing with, when these guys come in to take bids, you got some pretty rough customers. And let me tell you, she holds her own with these guys. And she never smiled the whole time. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Winkler, but I appreciate that, but it is a team effort with the construction department and everyone that's there, Sammy and Cully and Denise, as well as it really takes a team effort from the contractors, the subcontractors, and the architect and engineers that work with us. But thank you for those words.
And let's don't forget the school staff, because they're
Yes.
inconvenienced as well, and it's quite a challenge when you have a major construction project going on at your site. So, Mr. Winkler, you deserve
handle
credit
it very
too.
well.
My mailbox, bringing in one of the portables, but she replaced it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, we're glad she got
We were
that
actually
fixed.
in a meeting, and my wife called me, she was in the room. All right, who's paying for my mailbox?
Contractor.
Very good. Okay, so now we're gonna go to business affairs. Ms. Prevost.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. The January financial report was sent to you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Ms. Prevost? Ms. Heinz?
Terry, are you referring to the budget update? You said January
No, the
financial.
monthly financial report.
Okay. I have a comment on the budget update. Just
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, but I'll be happy to answer.
Well, if it's not on the agenda,
Yeah,
but
but you
I
can-
just wanted to say thank you for providing it to us. You know, it's, we talk about having a quarterly updates, and I appreciate the fact that there was a letter to us regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz. Any other questions? Seeing none. Ms. Prevost, let's go to the purchasing report now.
Ms. Stevens is here to answer any question you may have on the purchasing report.
Any questions for Ms. Stevens about the purchasing orders? Seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Prevost. You did an excellent job once again. Closing, we're going to go to announcements by the board president, Ms. Heinz.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. The announcements today are there will be a reception at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 21st, honoring the 2018-19 Students of the Year, Support Employees of the Year, and Substitute of the Year, and that will be held in the atrium next week. The board meeting will begin at 7 p.m., followed by a special board meeting for one expulsion hearing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz. With no further business come before this committee, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, and good evening.